Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very unhappy about the fact that I have to make this video. I'm not thrilled I have to cover this subject. I had second thoughts about making this video, but I'm going to because it's important, because it's massive news, and because it affects all chess fans. New chess fans, old chess fans, and so on. Another chess cheating scandal has hit. And in some ways, this one is actually bigger than Magnus Carlsen, Hans Niemann. In other ways, and most ways, we already had our big landmark cheating scandal. That one's going to be made into a documentary, into a movie. So this one will feel like an afterthought. But this cheating scandal that I'm about to talk about involves one of the highest rated players ever. And if this person is ultimately found guilty by the FIDE Commission, the international governing body, and suspended or gets in trouble, this person will become the highest rated player, the highest ranked player to ever suffer such a consequence. Again, everything in the video is alleged, just like in the story between Magnus and Hans and the withdrawal and the mystery, but this one is a little bit different. In the Magnus Carlsen Hans Niemann incident, Magnus withdrew from a tournament. Ultimately, after many, many months, it was discovered that there is no credible, tangible evidence of any over-the-board cheating by Hans Niemann, despite some of the things that he may have done online younger when he was, in his younger years. Today, however, a grandmaster, I woke up and I saw this. Ukrainian-born grandmaster Kirill Shevchenko, who's currently 69th in the world with a peak rating above 2,700, was expelled from the Spanish Team Chess Championship after arbiters found a phone in the toilet following games against Paco Vallejo, one of the best Spanish players ever, and Bassem Amin, the best African chess player. He is from Egypt. A lot of you, actually, I have a lot of Egyptians in the comments here who are asking me to do collaborations with him. And listen, I'm more than down. We are just very far apart, but he's a very smart man. He's also a doctor. So Kirill Shevchenko. Kirill Shevchenko is a very strong grandmaster. He played in Romania recently, I think earlier this year. Like, he's a perennial 2,600 young player. He's obviously very, very strong. When I saw this, I was like, what? He was cheating with a phone in the toilet? Like, this is cheating ELO of 100. Like, this is the easiest way to get caught. Like, there's no way. What? So there's a report, right? And this happened in Spain. There's a Spain tournament going on right now. Bunch of things have already been posted about this. Again, it's all alleged. I'm not trying to dogpile on a guy, but like this is a huge deal. So we got to talk about this. And then I got a lot more. I got insights from Kramnik. I got the whole thing. And then I got the last time somebody was found guilty of using a phone in a tournament and got stripped of the grandmaster title. So we're going to talk about all of this. First things first, let's read this. This came out at 9 a.m. today. I'm going to read it. 22-year-old Kirill Shevchenko expelled from the Spanish Team Championship. Basically, he had a regular absence from the board, and it aroused suspicion in round 2. And a phone was found in the toilet, with arbiters claiming a link of the phone to Shevchenko based on handwriting and behavior. Now, this is where it gets fascinating. So, this is about Shevchenko. Like I said, he's a very good player. He's a very good player. He scored higher in a tournament earlier this year than Caruana and Eric Geisy, and that was Rapid and Blitz. He can't cheat over the board in Rapid and Blitz. I mean, you would have to do some James Bond level of... Like, this is obviously a very, very good player. So the chief arbiter or the chief referee, Oscar Bruno de Prado Rodriguez, I have never heard of a more Spanish name in my life. If he's not, then I apologize. But, they got like 6 names. It's very funny. Firmly believing, and in light of the evidence gathered throughout the investigation, that the player has made use of the mobile phone in the toilet during the game, in addition to ignoring my request to notify me when he was leaving the room in breach of rules, I decided to impose the following sanction. Both of his games are forfeited. He's expelled from the competition, and all of this is going to be submitted. Now, here's a description of what happened. So, his second-round opponent, Paco Vallejo, complained to the arbiter that his opponent was spending too long away from the board. The arbiter raised the question with Shevchenko, who said he had a problem, I guess, with his stomach, because why else would you go to the toilet? So the arbiter reminded the player he needed to ask permission because it was located outside of the playing hall in a common area. The visits continued, and they investigated and found an individual cubicle, and there was a handwritten note on the phone. They found a phone in an individual cubicle, and it says, "No toques. El teléfono se dejó para que el," I don't know how to say this word, "huésped contestará por la noche," which literally translates to, "Don't touch, this telephone has been left so the owner can answer it at night." I mean, this sounds like something out of like a bad cartoon. I mean, I couldn't believe this when I was reading it. I was like, there's just no way. What? A guy put a phone in a toilet for everyone to see, but put a note that said, "Don't remove, because this is, the owner will answer it at night." The phone was confiscated. The toilet was locked. 2.5 hours into the round, you're going to see, I'm going to show you this game. 2.5 hours into this game, it doesn't matter that the phone is no longer there because he's already got a winning position. But again, I'm reading all the facts. After the round, here's another one. The arbiter says that the other members of the organizing committee observed Shevchenko enter the bathroom, saw that the toilet was locked and closed, the one where the phone was, waited for some time before leaving instead of using a free toilet. This happened more than once. Then they compared the handwritten note to Shevchenko's score sheets, found similarities in ink. They found that the phone is on the same time zone as Romania. Then there was, Shevchenko denied everything. And then here is something published in Spanish. I can read this at like the level of a 7-year-old, but I think it's just more of the same. Now, his first round opponent, Amin, told, "For me, I would say things started to get strange. He played his move, left the playing hall for more than 10 minutes. This repeated many times. But, he didn't let it affect him. And the two games are here, and that's it. They reached out for comment, and that's it. So this comes out, right? Now, I'm going to show you the games, okay? I'm going to show you these games, and before you lose your attention span, where this gets very interesting for me, very interesting. Again, look, there's no physical proof that he cheated, right? I'm going to say this again and again. I talked about this with the Hans. You don't have any physical proof. With the Hans Niemann thing, they looked at the statistics of the games, and with the Hans Niemann thing, there was not even any smoking gun. That's what they call it, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire. There was none of that either. It's not like Hans, during his game against Magnus, was leaving the room every... that's not what was happening. They're very, very different. This is very different because there's a lot of circumstantial stuff. Nobody caught him in the bathroom, but there's a lot of circumstantial stuff, right? They're claiming that's his phone. He only goes to the one bathroom stall with the, but there's still no proof. So it's going to be investigated. All of this is alleged and et cetera, right? But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good right now. Now, where this gets interesting, and I hate this. This is why I'm really not happy about having to make this video. He won Title Tuesday a week ago. For anybody that is watching this and doesn't know what I'm talking about, Title Tuesday is a weekly tournament on Tuesdays on chess.com. A bunch of extremely strong grandmasters play. There's prizes. And this tournament, is allegedly, in the words of some of the players who play this tournament, has up to 20% cheaters. Fabiano Caruana, who is right here, one of the best players of the last 15 years, has said that he thinks 1 in 5 people cheat in this tournament. Chess.com has actively denied this and has shown that online and offline are different, and has talked about, different statistical backing that a lot of these players are legitimate. But this is crazy, right? This is a really crazy coincidence, which naturally was talked about by the one and only Vladimir Kramnik, which I will get into. Now, these are the games, okay? I'm not going to analyze these games and be like, "Oh, look, he was definitely doing something wrong." I'm not strong enough to know. But these are the two games, right? So the first game, Bassem Amin, grandmaster from Egypt. It was a Sicilian. It was a Rossolimo. I've actually been studying this a bunch, and I really like this line e6 as well. So bishop takes c6, b takes c6, and d3. Okay? Queen c7, castles knight e7. This has all been played before. Now, there are many lines here. There are many lines here. But the line that white chooses in the game is knight g5, right? h6 played by black. Knight goes back to h3, and it's quite clear that you want to support your central advance. It looks pretty ridiculous. Bassem plays like this. We have e5, we have a big center. And one thing you will notice is that, Kirill is it's not as easy to just be like, oh, his clock time and this and that. But, you know, Bassem was saying that, like, he was spending time away from the board. Kirill gets a slightly better position with black. Rook d8, knight c3, but the time management is kind of, you know, relatively consistent. Maybe black has a slight advantage. Now black is a lot better, but a pawn down, which is kind of interesting. And then now black is 2 pawns down, but very active along white's second rank. Gets a pawn back, and ultimately this game ends in a draw. Black actually gets kind of low on time here. Knight f3, and now white's king is caught in a net, and they repeat moves. And I know it says 1, but that's because black was forfeited ultimately. But the game ended in a draw. They just repeated moves. Now you look at a game like this, you're like, I mean, if the dude was running to the toilet, maybe he was, you know, using an engine from 2003 because there was nothing, I don't know, like to me, there's nothing particularly impressive about the game. I'm just like looking at the game. I'm like, okay, I mean, you know, like, yeah, black, it's very different when you have all the evidence, and then you also have may or may not have a verdict, and you also, you know, like if you're just looking at a game, you're like, well, it was an interesting Sicilian game. Like white won some pawns, black was kind of active, but nothing special. And then you start wondering, like, wow, but if black was cheating, how could Bassem have made a draw against him? I mean, it's not, you know, it's not like the guy was in the toilet every move. That's like another component. There's a lot of moving parts to this. There's a lot of intricacies. There's always a question of like, how many moves does a grandmaster, like if a 2636 or a 2656 played Magnus Carlsen in a tournament, how many times does that player need a hint to beat him? Right? It's an interesting point. You don't need 20 hints. You need like maybe 4, 3. So again, you look at this game, you're like, all right, fine. Now we get this game, okay? This game was the second round, and in this game, Paco Vallejo, again, one of the best grandmasters in the history of Spain, played this line 95-94. This is called the Damiano variation of the Petrov. It is supposed to be bad, but modern day computers have shown that black can completely lose this knight and then fight for equality. D4, DE, DE, like knowing the theory here is nothing special. Knight c6, knight c3, queen e5, take. And all of this has been played before. You can check, you know, the theoretical moves. F6, all theory, knight b5, h4, bishop f4 played by white. All of this has been played. Knight d6, cd6, but like all of this. I mean, bishop d2 is a weird move, but it was played pretty instantly. It's not hard to memorize all of these things. And then around here, you know, the players start playing on their own. Like, I guess bishop g4 is a slight inaccuracy, but whatever. White basically has 2 bishops and puts pressure. Bishop e2, right? c3, bishop takes. And in this game, Vallejo gambited the d6 pawn to get some activity, just like in the last game Shevchenko did with black. g5, it was a good position, but I think what, you know, Vallejo was struggling with here is time, right? He's down 34 minutes on the clock. And again, I have no idea at which point, like, this article says he was leaving a lot. I'm not gonna go through this game and be like, well, here he left and there's like a 12-minute gap. Like, no, I'm just gonna show you the game. So Vallejo trades down to this endgame, which black should, you know, probably draw because it's opposite colored bishops. But if white is able to keep a lot of pawns on the board, he's probably going to win it. c4, and, you know, Vallejo here plays f5, which is a bad move because white has this move f4, and f4 wins the game for white, basically. Black needed to sit tight. He played f5 because he had 2 minutes on the clock, and this counter shot clarifies the pawn structure. This bishop will go here, blockading these 2 pawns completely, and then white will advance and win the game. And that is actually exactly what happens. Now, okay, Vallejo only had 2 minutes, 1 minute, so obviously he blundered. But this game is just over because the bishop is here, the pawn and the king go, you have to give up your light-squared bishop, and white wins this endgame. And this endgame was won by Shevchenko. And here, okay, it says black wins because of the forfeit, but it is what it is. Now, what's crazy about this game? Here's the crazy thing about this game. And this is where it gets really weird. So Kramnik, right, sees this news and writes, expected this will happen more and more because of the major chess forces doing nothing in the field, at best, making cheaters believe they will never be punished. Now, Kramnik is a fascinating dude because Kramnik is kind of like the villains in Batman. That's just ironic because this is Gotham Chess, but I'm not named Gotham because of Batman. I'm named Gotham because New York, in case you didn't know that. Like, he's a villain, but he's not always wrong. You know what I mean? You watch a movie, you go, that villain's a bad guy, but I agree with some of the things. You know, maybe not like snap your fingers and half of people disappear, but like, you know, like, so Kramnik, chimes in, right? And what's really wild about Kramnik is that, like 2 hours before the news broke, he wrote, "Great game, masterful endgame technique, impressed by the level." And I have Kramnik muted, so I gotta actively search this out. But I was very curious today. Masterful endgame technique, and also Nepomniachtchi chimed in. Jan Nepomniachtchi, he chimed in. So this was 7 hours ago, and I'm like, this got published at 9 a.m. Like, what is going on here? Did these dudes know something was gonna happen? Like, I don't know. And again, Shevchenko is a very, very good player, but Kramnik chimes in, says what he says, and this is where it gets fascinating. So you go to the next tweet about Kramnik. Now, Kramnik, as usual, October 8th, makes a tweet that Shevchenko, who just won Title Tuesday, did a really, I think this is the tournament in the last Blitz World Championship. I think this is what this is. So Shevchenko played in the last Blitz World Championship, did poorly, and now look at him playing online. And, you know, it's true. Kramnik and Shevchenko played in 2023. Here, Shevchenko defeated him, 5 games in a row. And Kramnik is claiming that even back then, he reported him, nothing happened, right? So this got me thinking, right? Like, all of this stuff got me thinking. Kramnik is not always right. In fact, I would argue he's not right a lot of the time. So I have a few thoughts before we move on. My thoughts are this, okay? Now, again, nobody has found him guilty of anything yet, but it's really unfortunate. There is a lot of smoking gun. Sorry, I'm American. I have to use that. I mean, but that's, that's sort of the reference. Here are my thoughts, right? It seems like Vladimir Kramnik, you know that meme of the guy and he's standing there and the meme is, the worst person you know just made a good point? That's how I feel right now. Because Kramnik is now going to get, messages like, oh, we owe him an apology. Of course he knew all along, all this stuff. And in this particular instance, yeah, but he casts a huge net. Like, Kramnik believes in killing the coral reef but catching 20 fish. If you accuse 50 top players of cheating and if even 10 of them are cheating, what about the 40 you accuse that aren't? Right? He would argue, well, you're going to catch 10, right? I don't know. And chess.com is in a very difficult position because they need to decide at what threshold it's worth banning somebody. Because again, look, I'm not saying Kirill did anything wrong online. I'm not trying to get named in any $100 million lawsuits. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when this happens and a tournament finds you in violation of the rules and removes you from the tournament, and a week prior you won a tournament online, it doesn't look great. I've said about the Hans Niemann case, it doesn't look great about the history online, right? And now he's like this big, brash talking guy, and no wonder people are going to doubt him over the board. I've said this. I've said this over and over again. But yeah, I'm very annoyed that in this particular instance, now people are going to start taking the things that Vladimir says more like gospel. And in the case of chess.com, right? Let's say a player like Shevchenko or any other player is on their radar for a while. At what point do they ban? And what is their risk tolerance? Kramnik can accuse 50 people of cheating online. Chess.com can't do that. They can't do that. They have to be certain within a 99.99% certainty. Kramnik doesn't. He could just say anything about anyone. Nobody's going to sue the guy because nobody has the money to hire a lawyer. They're chess players. Chess players have no money. This is why they play. This is why they go to the toilet in tournaments in Spain and do this stuff, man. Like, joking aside, I have a lot of thoughts, and I was very annoyed today. I really didn't want to make this video because there's a lot of things clashing in my mind. Look at another thing Kramnik wrote, man. You guys love Daniel Naroditsky, right? A lot of people watch my channel, then graduate to Daniel Naroditsky. He's a great commentator, great, he reminds me of a sophisticated college professor. Listen, man, Kramnik recently, where is it? Kramnik was trying to play Naroditsky in a $50,000 on the table each match. I didn't even want to cover this because I'm done giving this man PR. Like, I'm like, Danya is one of the world's best players in 3+0 chess. He's a great player in 3+1 Title Tuesday format. He's like 2,700 level over the board. He hasn't played in any World Rapid and Blitzes, I think, but like he's going to in New York. And like, you can't, I mean, he's not cheating. You know what I mean? Like, he's not, like, if these guys are cheating, the chess world is done. If Naroditsky, Hikaru, all these people that Kramnik is accusing, are like, the world is finished. It's finished. Like, we're done. We're done here. I mean, you guys can keep tuning into recaps and whatnot and low elo chess, but, but when Kramnik is right, it's really a problem. It's a problem. And, you know, I got more thoughts. Obviously, there's going to be an investigation. Obviously, innocent until proven guilty. All that stuff. Like I said in the intro, this is actually a bigger deal purely in the chess world sense, not the global population. Because if Kirill gets in trouble, the last time somebody was found guilty of using a phone in the toilet, by the way, Igor Zraus's has passed away. And I think Igor Zraus's changed names to Isa Kasimi. So may he rest in peace. Chess shenanigans aside, Rousas received a stripping of the GM title and a 6-year ban, which other grandmasters like Alexei Shirov, who's one of the best players of the 90s and, you know, of the last several decades, said that he's not even sure the case warrants such a strict decision. In many sports, people don't receive these kinds of bans. They don't lose titles. The Houston Astros didn't lose their freaking titles. All right, not to reopen old wounds, Yankee fans, you know. So, yeah, I think, you know, look, FIDE is going to make things up as they go. There's, like, no precedent for this. Like, the accessibility of cheating in chess is, you know, it's developing at a rate like when Uber, the rideshare company, developed at a rate faster than any local government. Like, before you knew it, Uber ran every city, and then local taxi jurisdictions had to try to kick them out. They had to be banned from countries. Like, what's happening in chess is kind of similar, and chess.com does not do a perfect job. They leave even me with these open-ended questions like, how did the guy just win Title Tuesday? Like, he must have been on the radar if he's doing stuff like this. I mean, I have so many thoughts. Thought number one, when I think about this, and maybe I'm too empathetic of a person, is like, why? Why did he do this? He's a great player. Obviously. Like, did he need money? Was he struggling? Is something going on in his life? That's me. Like, that's the first thing I think of. I don't even think of ban the guy, blah, I gotta make a video. Like, I don't want to make a video about this, man. I don't want to. I don't want to do this, and then some Reddit chess goblins are gonna go, oh, he loves drama. I'm tired of this. I want to cover something else, you know? That's like the first thing that I think of. And like, it really doesn't look good, man. And I hope he's gonna be all right. I hope he's gonna be okay. Whatever happens, I have no idea what's gonna happen, because going back to the punishment, like, they're just gonna make something up. I mean, they're gonna make something up if he's found guilty. And then, you know, anti-cheat. Make no mistake, of anybody in the world, chess.com is doing far and away more for anti-cheating. It's not close. I don't know what FIDE is doing. I don't know. I have no idea. Some metal detectors, maybe. I have no idea what they're doing. But technologically, considering that chess.com is a website, probably the online websites like them, maybe Lichess, like, they're probably at the forefront of fighting this stuff, considering most games happen online. But yeah, now Kramnik's gonna look real smart. Now a lot of people are gonna be like, well, we're gonna just, you know, he was right about this one case, so, you know, we're gonna forget about all the other people he accused, and, you know, we're just, oh, this is not good. It's not good. Like, nothing about this is good. Nothing is good. You know what is good? If you made it this far, tickets for the fan event, Stockholm, November 3rd, half sold out. Half the tickets have sold out, by the way. So, if you're going to be in Stockholm November 3rd, or you're close, you might as well get a ticket because they're going. The B ticket is general admission. You get to hang out, play some games, maybe get a drink. The A ticket is for the auditorium. We'll be doing a live guest Elo. And the VIP is almost gone. I think they've sold out already. So shout out to those of you all see in Stockholm. And really just not a good day for chess. Not a good day. I'm not happy. Kramnik is elated, but he'll say he's not happy. I mean, he's going to be like, oh, I don't consider this a win, and not enough is being done. But that's the news. And as an empathetic individual, I hope, if Shevchenko is found to be guilty of something, that he serves his punishment, comes back better, has a Hans Niemann redemption arc. Yeah, I don't use a phone in a toilet at a tournament, boys and girls. Like, at least have a partner to help you cheat. Yeah. Or don't. How about just don't? Just don't. All right. How about don't do it? That's the motto. All right. That's the motto. But if you really want to, no. I'm done. I'm gonna go. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go walk outside. Get out of here.